So there's no new Salt Lake City for 2 weeks. God, that feels like a long time. But I still need to recap last week's episode because I took the week off just to take a little mental break. I have recorded a little rant about why I took a break, but I don't think I'm going to share it because you know what? If you are a part of the toxic faction of the fandom, nothing I say is going to affect you at all. So I just needed to take a little break, clear my head a little bit. And then now we can get into this recap again. So, Merry Christmas, by the way. It is Christmas Day for me recording this. Okay, so let's get into episode 14. I have a lot of thoughts, and I've decided I'm just going to be as opinionated as I want to be because I am going to get bad feedback regardless. So I'm not going to keep doing what I do, or at least what I feel like I'm doing. And I don't know if you can even catch it, but I'm always trying to like offer the counterpoint because I can anticipate the comments I'm going to get. But I think I need to just lean into my thoughts on this because this was a very dynamic episode with a lot of real major points. All right. They go to the water aerobics thing, Angie, Whitney, and Heather. And this is where Heather shares her opinion on Todd. And we get the flashback to Bronwyn saying when she was attacked by the dog, Todd was like, oh, it's just a scratch, and didn't even bother going to the hospital. And then when Gwen FaceTimed him from the hospital or whatever and was like, hello, he goes, oh, wow, that's not just a scratch. I'm sorry, I get darkness from Todd. I really, really do. Now let's go to the Britney Meredith thing. Now, I kind of sort of want to save a lot of this for the end because the end is where it gets really funny. But anyway, I'll just do it out of sequence. So according to Britney, Meredith was crying and throwing up the night before. Now, when Britney confronts Meredith about this, first, according to Meredith, this happened off camera first. And then again on camera. And then again at the fucking last Vita dinner on camera again, and then this time in the group setting. And Britney had already told one person who then told another person about the crying and the vomiting. But why did Britney turn on Meredith when Meredith had just been defending her against Angie? Was Britney pissed that Meredith made up with Angie and like found a moment maybe to like take her down? I don't know. It's also a through line on cast trips for Salt Lake City that Meredith gets fucked up and is sick, but it won't admit that that's why she's sick. There was the season where she had no bathtub, and she claimed she needed, like, she was sick. Remember, she needed an IV, but no, she was just like, here's my theory. I think she pops a little extra Xanax when they travel, because like travel anxiety, and then that catches up to her. And then she ends up sick, it's not easy on the body. So I don't know if Britney saw an opportunity to like capitalize on potentially another Meredith fucked up in on vacation storyline. It just seemed like such an abrupt turn from the night before when they were like not hand in hand, but fighting Angie together. So I think because Meredith made up with Angie, and I think Meredith doesn't remember making up with Angie, which let's put a pin in that. Because I want to bring that up later, the last dinner or the Vita dinner. Meredith is now falling asleep, though, in the van. It's like, this isn't even abnormal. Like, seeing this is like, yeah, that sounds about right. Meredith always is like this. They go on vacations and Meredith always ends up like passing out and not feeling well. I'm just being like, I'm just not feeling very well. It's just, yeah, I'm okay. Girl. Like, Meredith can't even walk in her heels. Angie has to help her, and she's just like, what was I thinking? Why are you wearing heels like that? Heels, like real high ones. All right, they get on the boat. They do a dance-off, which is very cringe and uncomfortable. But then they're all sitting around. Lisa shares an update on Henry, and it's really cute. They're all into it, and then here comes Britney. You guys, are you serious right now? are you serious? You gave me nothing when I talked about my daughter. And they're like, what? Are you? We didn't even, what did you say? This group isn't very supportive of me. I give you, oh God, I give you good news about Jared and me. I give you good news about my daughter. I just feel like you guys aren't supportive of the good things in my life. I'm right there with Angie, though. She's like, okay, we were just talking about Henry. What are you doing? How did you bring it back to you? Like, I've never met a woman who needs more attention. But then Bronwyn, is this a savage thing to say? Yes, but I get it. Bronwyn says, do you like the idea of telling us that you saw your daughter or seeing your daughter? And then Britney, Bronwyn, you're a fucking bitch. Whoa. Doesn't Lisa go, whoa? Doesn't Lisa do that? Or was that something else? But then Bronwyn looks at Lisa and goes, got anything to say? I'm looking at you, Lisa. Whoa. Now I'm saying, whoa. Oh, whoa. Okay. Interesting. And then in the confessional, Bronwyn says, I guarantee you if somebody called Lisa a bitch and I was within earshot of that and I didn't stand up for her, we'd be talking about this until I'm dead. Okay. I don't agree with that. I don't think that Lisa expects anyone to stand up for her. It doesn't seem to even happen in general. Like, later, let's look at the Vita dinner. It seems like Meredith tries to kind of have her back, but then steps out of it. And then it's just not a thing. It's just not, I don't know. I don't really know where Bronwyn is even deducting that would be the case. What experience have you had with Lisa where you didn't defend her and she hasn't let you forget it? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. When did that happen? Because I just don't see Lisa ever expecting that, especially not at this point. Like when you come on a TV show with a friend, it's always bound to be a little tricky because the way they behave on a show with the cast, especially if you've been on the show already and like done it for a couple of years, it's just a different dynamic than you're used to. This isn't normal, like hanging out with a friend. This is different. So I think Bronwyn's got a little shock there. But I'm going to go through what Bronwyn says here in this process here. You and I had private conversations where I have said to you, I feel vulnerable. I feel alone. I have said to you multiple times, now she's crying, and said, this is bullshit. When this passion started, when she said, I've pulled you aside and I said, I feel vulnerable. I'm like, oh, I think what's happening is, once again, someone isn't getting what they need from Lisa. And it's something that Lisa is not incapable of giving, but maybe incapable of giving. So for example, Bronwyn had a problem with the way Lisa didn't stick up for her allegedly at in the very beginning, the ski thing and Heather and that whole thing. And Bronwyn still keeps saying to this day that Lisa threw her under the bus with the whole thing with Whitney and Heather and in the car at Wendy's, whatever. Lisa didn't throw you under the bus. She did not. Heather did, for sure. But Lisa did not. Lisa defended you. Lisa wouldn't have wanted that to come out, really, because she was being a little snarky bitch, too. So Lisa didn't throw you under the bus. She just didn't she didn't stand up and go, Heather, stop. Stop it right now. That's not what happened. And she didn't do it like that. But anyway, Bronwyn was upset with that. So they had a row, if you will. And Lisa then, I think when you have a fight with Lisa, she needs to distance herself to deal with it. But then that person who confronted her feels the distance. And it's like, oh, so I confront you, you distance yourself from me. And then that's, wait, hold on. I'm realizing that's what Whitney's trying to say, that once we confront you, you ice us out. And then it only adds to it. So therefore they're saying that you need to agree with Lisa in order to be in her good term. Maybe, But I also do still think that reacting after someone has confronted you about something and kind of taking a second to reassess isn't the weirdest thing to do. Or would I view that as cold? Because if I confronted somebody and they then, no, that would affect me for sure. I had someone do that to me somewhat recently, where I regretted confronting them because they handled it horribly. And if my friend is watching, he knows exactly who I'm talking about. Not him. He knows the other person. And they literally didn't speak to me for days. And it was like, oh, wow. Okay. That's a punishment. So I guess that does affect me. And I don't love that. And that's not great. And then I also think that Lisa, this is going to sound mean, doesn't and I'm jealous kind of too, doesn't have a lot of depth. Not saying she's not interesting, dynamic, colorful, all those amazing things that Lisa is. I don't think that Lisa goes much deeper. For example, the black eye moment. That next day when Heather reveals the black eye, they get on these little like buggy, these little carts or something to go to the next activity. And Heather says, I picked riding with Lisa because Lisa's not going to ask me anything about myself. She's just going to talk about her. And they cut to their little cart thing. And Lisa's like, I was thinking about like redoing my closet because I need to have like more space for like my shoes. And I was like, okay, yes, that's maybe not like the coolest quality, that she's not super like deep and she's pretty materialistic, but that's just Lisa. Like when Meredith joked in the car ride when they were going to the Girl Scout thing, and Lisa was like, yeah, people like actually go to camp and like meet business partners and whatever. And Meredith's like, not Lisa, 8 years old, going to camp thinking about who can turn into a business partner. Only Lisa Barlow. It's like, that's just Lisa in a way. And again, I'm kind of jealous. I wish I was a little less deep and a little more shallow and like those sorts of things. Although I guess now that I think about it, I don't talk about the deepest of stuff. My friends came over for Christmas Eve and we were just mainly talking about housewives and Bravo takes and other such things as that. And I even thought in my head as we were talking, I'm like, I love that this is it. Like this is what I talk about. I'm not that deep either. But okay. All of that. Oh my God. I just talked a lot. What was I even saying? Okay, so where I'm getting this is too, Bronwyn says, because Lisa's like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I'm trying to be a great friend. Nothing's good enough. Bronwyn says, except when I tell you that I don't feel close to you, you don't fucking care, Lisa. Then Bronwyn goes into kind of a trauma dump, if I'm honest. And I think this is why Lisa was not super responsive, because she had just been getting yelled at by Bronwyn and told she's fucking up yet again. She's supposed to step in and say, don't call her a bitch and all that stuff. So she's coming off of that. And then Bronwyn goes into, I'm going to read it. Has anybody asked me a question about myself? From day one, I've been called two-faced, terrifying, not a girl's girl, a trophy wife, a gold digger. This is bullshit. The amount of things that have been said about me before any of you got to know me. Then Britney starts chiming in. I don't want to come for you. I don't want to. Angie, you can tell. Angie's like, hold on, because she can tell Bronwyn's about to open up. So then Bronwyn goes, if anybody had asked me what it's actually like with Todd, or the real shit I've gone through with Todd, like how hard it is to be a stepmom, how hard it is for me to navigate being with somebody who is older and successful, and the infidelity that we have had in our situation. Okay, so I want to break this down a little bit, or a lot of it. How about that? She says, no one's asked about how hard it is to be a stepmom. I don't agree with that. I think Whitney and Bronwyn discussed that, and I get why you've been defensive of the marriage, but that's not 100% true. Or how hard it is for me to navigate being with somebody who is older and successful. I don't know if that, like, how is someone supposed to ask you that? Like, so they've asked about the age difference. I'm excluding Britney from this because Britney has been like crazy about it. I'm talking about the people who are just curious and it's interesting and to them, whatever. And she's just kind of been like, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like this is how it is. This is what it is. He's older. Okay. Like that. So, but then when she says, and the infidelity we've had in our situation, I was like, Oh, wait a minute. I don't know if this is her first time opening up about this ever to even like herself. Because she doesn't strike me as maybe someone who would have told a friend about this. Or maybe she would, but obviously Lisa's shocked. And Lisa claims the reason she was not really responsive was because she was in her head freaking out. Like, why are you telling this group of women this very vulnerable thing when Britney just called you a fucking bitch? But I'm not going to do what a lot of people I know are hoping I do, which is be like, Lisa was so wrong in this moment. I feel for Bronwyn. I'm having a hard time connecting to her with this. Not saying it didn't happen. Just, I got confused about what I'm getting. I'm either picking up on Bronwyn being incredible, like, I think Bronwyn wants to either leave Todd because he's fucking controlling, and I'm sorry, they don't have an active sex life. I just don't believe it. I see them and I don't get that. We've seen other couples that we can pick up things from. I get that Todd is not fucking interested. And Bronwyn has been struggling with that. I think Todd is scary to Bronwyn. I think she's told herself that this is normal communication to have someone be tough on you like Todd is with her, but I don't think she really likes it. And so as much as she is sharing about this like infidelity, I think that there's either a lot more to it, or when she gets on Watch What Happens Live and backtracked and said it wasn't some big affair, it was mainly a misunderstanding. Todd just has boundaries and this woman was being very flirty and that's it. I'm like, that is just very different. And she had this very soft tone in her voice when she was on Watch What Happens Live. Like, I think Andy was even picking up on it. Andy was almost giving her looks like, who is this? Her voice was like in that really like safe place, because I think Todd being there, I don't see this awesome partnership. I see someone who looks freaked out, who looks like she's afraid of him. Because if it was, a lot of people were debating in my comment section. This is also partly why I was like, I need to get away from Salt Lake City for a week. A lot of people were debating like, well, what's the difference between an emotional affair or whatever? Well, she said if the two of them were on the same page and he knew, yes, I had an emotional affair, and that's why she told the group. I think that's the other part. Like, she told the group and said it on camera. So I would assume that Todd, they've had open discussions about it, and he would have been okay with her sharing that. So then for her to backtrack it and say it was not a big affair, it was a misunderstanding. So she's letting him off the hook on camera. I think that there is something much darker, deeper, whatever about Todd and Bronwyn's relationship. Also, I have not fully read into it, but somebody sent this to me, and it's really hard to read the writing on it. But Bronwyn posted some stories to her Instagram back in like 2020, and it was a lot about Gwen. And they had sent Gwen to one of those like schools where they go and reform bad kids. And a lot of people were asking, like, have you seen the Paris Hilton thing? And she's like, oh, Gwen's not at a school like that. But then she says that at one point she can't go see Gwen for Christmas because Gwen didn't earn the visit. You have to earn the visit. I was like, oh, that sounds not great. That doesn't sound like a great place. So I don't know if maybe she'll address it at the reunion, because it came out and I guess it got big on Reddit, this whole thing. Because I was also like, didn't you say Todd was super protective of her too? Like, I don't know. Okay, but I'm going to go through more of what she says. She says that Gwen went to say something to Todd and then saw the text message he was texting on the iPad over his shoulder and then confronted him. And then Whitney says, what did he say when you asked him about it? Bronwyn goes, he said it's a fatal flaw of his, that what's good for him in business is that he's never satisfied, always pushing for the next deal. And it's hard to turn that off. When you come home, you're always looking for, and then Heather comes in like, no, girl, hard to turn it off. It's called marriage. You're going to lose your wife if you don't. But then Bronwyn's like, it's not his fault. You're used to what you're used to. You like what you like. I'm like, you don't believe that. You don't believe that. She's saying it like knowing that they know, that she knows, or at least one of them knows. I'm picking up on she doesn't think Todd is Mr. Perfect, amazing husband. And I think she's afraid to go against it. And I swear she's doing this show to hopefully like set herself up financially or something. Because I am just picking up on stuff. I don't even know what I'm picking up on exactly. Because if he's got the money and the power, to leave him, there's no prenup. Now, I know that makes it seem like she could take him to the cleaners, but this guy sounds like he would be able to fight anything she tried. It's kind of like, well, how Erica pictured it, but how Erica pictured her divorce from Tom would be, allegedly, and how it would be, fighting up against a man with all this money, but it turned out to be not that. So, but like, kind of like that, like Bronwyn can't go against him until she's ready and able to leave. It seems like she's trying to say more than actually saying it, and I'm making sure she doesn't get in too much trouble when it comes out. Then Heather asks, did he deny it? Did he say there's nothing going on? Bronwyn's answer is, he came back with the ring that had 5 diamonds, and he made me 5 new promises to match each of the diamonds. And then Lisa goes, oh, that's nice. What the fuck? She meant it too. Angie says, what were the promises? Bronwyn says, it was 5 things he didn't promise me when we got married that he probably should have. Okay. She says, Todd works 3,000 miles away from me 5 days a week. So there's always going to be a lump in the back of my throat that if I'm not super supportive, if I'm not super there, if I'm not super caring, if I'm not physically there, it's not going to be the same. I'm not always good enough at home, and then I'm not good enough with you guys ever. So I can tell Heather is sorry, but this is a horrifying position for Bronwyn to feel like she's in all the time. Like, you've been married so long at this point. There's always a lump in the back of your throat that if you're not doing something right, he's not going to come home and want to be with you. Like, that's an awful feeling. And I guess what she's maybe saying, it's her own fear. It's her own issue that she needs to work out, and it's not necessarily Todd's fault. Maybe that's what she's saying. Meredith decides to suddenly emerge. And I don't really think she was totally listening. Maybe she was, but she is like, do you think maybe he can't be that invested because you're guarded against him? Meredith, what? He can't be that invested? Her husband? What? I'm like, Meredith, go back to bed. I don't think you knew what was happening. But then Lisa, that's a great question. Lisa, what are you guys talking about? But I think Lisa isn't believing it. I mean, I don't think she didn't. I think she's like, where's this? Because it did seem like, whoa, we went from being mad at me to now you're confessing that you had infidelity in your marriage. I think it was just a jarring moment for Lisa, who's known her for a long time. And it's like, wait, since when? And okay, so Bronwyn gets further into this, but her main kind of point is because in her relationship with Todd, she doesn't feel like she's good enough. Now in this group, it's like nobody knows who I am. And that's an isolating feeling to float through life and feel like there's nobody who totally gets me. And when you don't have a strong relationship with your mom, I'm losing my dad. Gwen is going to college. And then I thought Lisa was introducing me to friends. And it's been tricky with some of you. And it reinforces this narrative that maybe I'm not good enough for anyone, Now, this is a literal trauma dump. That's a definition textbook trauma dump for sure. And, whether or not that's cool or not, it's a lot to take in. This is a lot to take in. And Britney has kind of attempted to do shit like this, and no one really took it, or maybe they tried to. But Bronwyn is doing a trauma dump right now. Like, this is all some deep, deep stuff for her. And not everybody's, let me put it this way, not everybody's equipped for these. And I feel like Lisa's definitely one of those people who doesn't know how to handle that. And I don't think that's necessarily wrong. Everybody is different. I have many a times had to learn that lesson. Don't go to the wrong person for the wrong thing. Because what's the AA phrase? It's like going to the hardware store for a loaf of bread. You're not going to get what you're looking for because it doesn't exist there. They don't have that there, So if you want somebody to be really emotive and verbally very reinforcing in those moments, Lisa's not your girl. Heather is, though, and Heather stepped right up and was like, given the pep talk and all of that. But it's interesting because Heather's pep talk is like how she was in a bad marriage and he helped saved her by leaving her finally. And she can relate, etc. But Bronwyn's not leaving Todd as of now. Bronwyn is staying with Todd, and to this day is still with Todd. So it is a little bit different because I think that's also what Lisa's maybe thinking. Like, hold on, you're not dumping Todd or anything. You're not getting a divorce. So is he going to be okay with you saying this? Like, I don't know. And she was right. I think he's livid. I think he's pissed. Because he looked pissed, like he was taking off his glasses and rubbing his forehead when Bronwyn was explaining it more. I was like, oh, I'm scared. I'm scared. But then here comes Meredith. Bronwyn, what I wanted to say to you is, I didn't go through this exact situation, but Seth and I obviously had some serious problems. And then she starts crying. It was really hard. And we had to really learn to redefine our whole relationship. But it doesn't, everyone has their capacities, and it doesn't mean he doesn't adore you. He just may not be able to show it to you in a way that you need to receive it yet. Thank you, Meredith. Well, okay. What? Angie's like, Sean's a lot like Todd. He's a perfectionist. And they're always like, he always wants to open a business, and she's tired. And then Heather goes, is that why you have so many dogs? Yes, that explains it. And then so they're like, okay, we're going to get off the boat. And they like give her a hug. Lisa goes, you're so much more relatable now. But then walking to the van with Angie, she's like, interesting. Do you know what I mean? Do you feel the same? And Angie's like, no, I mean, I feel it's hard for her. I feel bad for her. Oh, when Todd sees this, he's going to lose his mind. And yeah, he probably did. Hello, She's Speaking listeners. For a lot of us, our hair is very important. And Lola V, which is Jennifer Aniston's award-winning hair care line, is incredible for saving your hair from the past and the future. Let me just say something. I've had major hair shedding, major hair loss, and I'm still recovering from it. So every strand of hair on my head must be as healthy as possible. And thanks to Lola V, it is. They are these little healthy strands of hair that are left in my head. The Exfoliate and Detox shampoo changed my hair in one use. And I'm not just saying that, okay? I would never lie about something this important. Lola V is powered by their naturally derived peptide bond builder known as B-Pro3 bond technology. It's derived from chia seeds, and it's clinically proven to prevent, protect, and repair signs of aging and damage on the hair. So it combats damage right where it starts, and then it guards against dryness and breakage while delivering high-performance results. And if we're talking gifts, the Ultimate Care Kit is a great idea. This collection features Jen's favorites, the Restorative Shampoo and Conditioner, and the Allure Best of Beauty winning Glossing Detangler. These 3 products are Jen's essentials for visibly healthy, shiny hair. And with the kit, you'll save over 25%. The restorative shampoo and conditioner work together to strengthen hair with every wash, providing a remarkable 77% reduction in breakage after just one use. The Glossing Detangler is the ultimate multitasker. It's a detangler, a heat protectant, a frizz fighter, a shine enhancer, and a hydrator all in one. So you can solve all your hair problems in just a few spritzes. Or it's a great stocking stuffer. Unlock Jennifer Aniston approved hair at lolav.com and celebrate the holidays with stronger, healthier hair. As our loyal listeners, you'll get an exclusive 15% off your entire order when you use code SheSpeaks15 at checkout. That's 15% off your order at LOLAVIE.com with promo code SheSpeaks15. Please note you can only use one promo code per order and discounts can't be combined. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Your hair will thank you. If you are shopping for the man in your life, whether that be your bestie or your boyfriend or your husband, I got a great gift idea that they'll actually use. The Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver from Manscaped. See, the Chairman Pro has that flex adjust technology, so the blades and the pivoting head adjust to every curve of the face. It's nice and gentle on the neck, even safe to use below the belt. And the Chairman Pro has not one, but 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads. You got the skin-safe 4-blade foil for when he wants these smooth as a baby's bottom type of thing. But then they also have this skin-safe stubble trimmer for when he wants to keep a little stubble but just clean it up. And the Chairman Pro is also waterproof. That's a major game changer. A lot of men prefer to shave in the shower. And you get up to 75 minutes of runtime on a single charge. So they have plenty of time to go from head to toe with that thing. Gift your man the ultimate grooming experience by Manscaped and get him the Chairman Pro package for the holidays. It's a thoughtful and practical gift that he'll actually use and love. Get 25% off plus free shipping with the code SheSpeaks at manscaped.com. That's 25% off plus free shipping with the code SheSpeaks at manscaped.com. But then after the boat, now they're back at the villa and they're eating what looks to be delicious, I must say. And Bronwyn is telling Angie and Whitney that Lisa was not very responsive on the boat. And Whitney eats this up, obviously. Angie, I have a theory that Angie, if you stick her in a room with people that have one opinion, she'll eventually have that same opinion. And then if you stick her in another room with a different person with a different opinion, she'll eventually have that opinion. Because Angie technically made up with Lisa. She's technically on good terms with her. So technically, she doesn't need to be like chiming in and enjoying this too much. And at first, it feels like she's not super joining in. But then it gets like a little more ramped up. Heather joins, and then it's about how Meredith was defending Todd. And Whitney's just loving this because that's her whole bit is that she's the only one who opens up. And she's like, you just bore your heart and soul to us and said probably one of the most vulnerable things you could share. But instead, they're defending the cheater. And then she's like, it hits home for them because it's something they've both been accused of or been through. They side with Todd because they've been on that side of it and they want to be forgiven. God damn, girl. God damn. I know you guys rumored that Lisa had been on that side of it, but Lisa's never confirmed that. And you're just talking like it's fact, Whitney. So thank you. And then Bronwyn brings up, unfortunately, the whole thing about the grandparents. But it's not what I expected. I kind of thought she was going to say she totally overstepped, but Lisa kept saying they have this big house and Gwen's dad is so handsome and they're so beautiful and they're so wealthy. And she's like, that's not how I feel about them, obviously. And Whitney's like, she has a hard time going beyond the surface. But then Heather, I think, says it perfectly. Heather goes, I think it just would be hard for her to imagine anyone not wanting to be friends with someone that was rich and beautiful and cool. And I think it's kind of how simple it is. Like, this isn't necessarily a good quality, not one I have, if you will, but that is like, Lisa is sort of that simple. She's like, oh my God, but they're like so nice and like so rich and like so nice. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. Not saying it's a good quality. I'm just saying like she's done this type of shit before. Even earlier in the season with Bronwyn and the necklace, and they had been fighting, but then the necklace came out and she was like, oh my God, I love it. Like, Lisa just likes pretty shiny things. She is materialistic. But this is when Bronwyn says to Heather and to them, she says, maybe Meredith and Lisa don't relate or understand what this type of relationship is that, you guys understand, where the woman is in her place and there's a very like narrowly defined role for yourself. Now, Whitney can't relate. Well, maybe Whitney in her first marriage. Maybe that's what it was. But Whitney's not like that with Justin. But, Heather can relate for sure. But again, she's staying with Todd. So that's where it gets a little tricky. But then Angie steps in. I swear, I'm telling you stick Angie, you keep her in a room long enough and she's going to eventually turn and join that side. And she's like, yeah, there's something going on. And there's a reason that you're over here. Maybe that when you were having that moment, maybe she didn't take it as serious as it really was. I don't know. And Bronwyn reads between the lines and is like, so you don't think she believed what I was saying? So she'll let that stew. But then Mary arrives in the mask on the golf cart. It was so sweet that she is so excited to see Angie. I didn't realize she took Robert Jr. to rehab. Like, he comes in ready to go on camera, like, all right, let's do this. Whoa, that's big. See him dressed to go and everything on camera. That's pretty amazing. Okay, so that's cute. That's fun. But now let's go to the Vita. It's a Vita dinner for sure. But Whitney's trying to throw shade at it. I'm sorry. It feels like I've stepped into a bad Vita commercial or a cheesy Vita ad or whatever she says. But like, I don't even think they can afford a commercial. Whitney, you have done so many promotional events for your own businesses. What are you talking about? You've done this. You've done it too. Like, Lisa can't? Why can't Lisa do it too? It's, she's paying for the trip. Like, Whitney, you throw shade just for fun at Lisa. And then you're like, Lisa doesn't want to be my friend. All right, now let's go. Now that pin, take it out. Now we are at the Meredith Britney thing again. Even after Britney has spoken to Meredith, both off camera and then on camera, one-on-one, or maybe with one other person there. No, one-on-one, she said. Then, here we go again, Britney. Meredith, how are you feeling? You feeling okay? Yeah, good. You were talking about being tired, and I hope it's okay to say, but I heard you crying last night. Okay, bitch, you've talked about this already. And then I'm telling you, Meredith doesn't remember. I'm convinced she does not remember that she made up with Aunt. She doesn't remember half that dinner and doesn't really remember being in her room crying or anything like that. But she can't ever admit that. It's just like when she was like, you wanted me to talk about the husband? I'm convinced she had nothing to say about the husband, but was just trying to have a moment drunk. And then the next day when they were like, so what did you hear about Sean? She's like, I will not ever divulge that, and does not remember. She's like, I will have to see what I said when the show airs because I don't know. So, but she has to live with. So she's like, I was upset last night and I cried, and I'm fine now. But thank you for asking. And then fucking Britney's like, okay, yikes! You've already asked her about this. She was just defending you against Angie. What are you doing? And then Bronwyn can't help herself. She's like, I feel awkward, but like it made its way up over to me, getting glam. And Meredith like misinterprets this. And she thinks that Bronwyn is saying like, but so like, I would like to know why you were crying and throwing up. But Meredith, I did not throw up. I'm glad you all find it to be so interesting and such an interesting subject of conversation. And Bronwyn was like, no, I was just telling you because it sounds like you don't want her talking about it. So get mad at her more. Let's do that. Let's get mad at her more. And then I swear to God, Meredith makes this up because she forgets what happened. And she says, I was upset about the slut shaming, so I cried. And they're all like, wait a minute. You made up with Angie. And then when Angie goes, well, let me ask you, Meredith, do you feel resolved with me? And Meredith goes, I have moved on emotionally now, and I don't want to go backwards. Okay, you don't remember. Like, I swear I'm convinced this is happening. She's like, what are we actually talking about? Like, resolved from what? Clearly not. I don't want to go backwards is because I can't remember what happened. But Lisa chiming in here is kind of weird. I think she was trying to tell Meredith to speak up, maybe. And it did seem like she was not on Angie's side, but trying to get them to talk more. I can't. So she says, I think Meredith should say how she feels instead of saying, I don't want to talk about it. But then Angie's like, Lisa, we agreed to stay out of each other's stuff. Stay out of it. And then Lisa immediately switches and she's like, oh, wait, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do and what not to do. And she's like, okay, you're just going to egg this on. And Lisa goes, what are you going to do? What the fuck is happening? Where did that come from? But Angie trying to be like, maybe I'll lunge at you. I'll take a page out of your book. Well, okay, you also like kicked a chair and have done stuff. So like, Angie, don't act like you don't do anything. You actually do also stand up a lot. And like, you were like getting in Meredith's face, like standing up, calling her miserable. So like, you have your own playbook too. And Angie's like, stop getting in the middle. And Lisa goes, I didn't get in the middle. You did though, like actually did. But okay. It's like, I was trying to help you fix this. And then I don't really get this part either, guys, because Angie goes, you didn't, you're not helping. And Lisa goes, do you feel like a badass right now? From what? What? Why? What did she do? Then Angie takes it to a place where she's parroting, it feels, what other people have said, because she's been hanging with Whitney so much. And also Mary hates Lisa too, at this point in time, at least. And so it's like she brings this up. She goes, how come when people talk to you, you think they are trying to have a problem or they're trying to be a badass? Like, are you the boss here? Nobody can address you? I mean, I guess maybe there's there truth to that? Maybe she's just really good at boundaries. Maybe like that's all it is. Because I think they all say like, don't talk to me about that. I'm done with that or whatever. Maybe like Lisa, I don't know. And so Lisa's like, I think you start things. This is true. I agree with this. And when people react to you, then you're like, oh my God, I have a problem. And you miss the fact that you incited things. And I agree with that. Britney does that too. They both like will do something, say something, get a reaction. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe that you did that. But then here comes Whitney with this was a reach to me, at least. It's interesting when it's about your feelings, you want us all to care. But if it's our feelings, you don't. Lisa's like, you of all people don't give a fuck about my feelings. Maybe look at that. That's how your friends feel. You get to be a dictator and pick and choose. She's like, oh, I don't get to be a dictator, period. And there's some cross-talking. And Whitney pulls this out. I wanted to be your friend. I thought we were like this. And the minute I stood up for myself, you turned your back and left the friendship. Now, is this about the punishing? Because originally I was like, Whitney, shut up. But now I'm like, is this what the punishing is? But that's not turning your back on a friend. That's taking a minute, taking a pause, right? I need to maybe go back 2 seasons and start watching from 2 seasons ago, because I think I want to see when Whitney and Lisa were friends, and I want to see that journey and remind myself of it. But Whitney is literally staging drama and trying to make Lisa look like she did something she literally didn't do. So Whitney, you need to shut up, honestly. She's like, and to this day, Whitney, who knows that her confirmation source for the Alibaba thing, she knows that they're saying it's not Lisa. And Whitney is still like, I think it's Lisa. The people who told you it was Lisa say it's not Lisa. So it's not Lisa. But anyway, that's when Lisa's like, Whitney, you did some fucked up stuff to me, and you're lucky I even look at you or talk to you, the things you've done. You're not a victim. You're a fucking lying bitch. Whoa. Oh, whoa. But then Bronwyn steps in. And I don't know what she was about to say because she's like, here's the thing. And Lisa goes, everyone should stay out of this. And then Bronwyn turns it into her thing. I'm like, Lisa's already fighting with Angie and with Whitney. Are you really about to pile on? But you are, aren't you? Because you're mad at her. Because you don't like, I swear you don't like Lisa. But then she Bronwyn's like, how come you get to tell me what to do and you didn't want Angie telling you what to do? You tell me what to do all the time. And Lisa goes, okay, Bronwyn, I'll get to you next. The fact that Bronwyn doesn't understand why Lisa was going to say, because Lisa is already fighting with two people. Like, she'll get to you next. Like, we can do this in a second. And Bronwyn's like, oh, why do you say things like that? It reminds me of the episode before when Bronwyn was upset with Lisa for the room thing. And then Whitney had chimed in. So Lisa and Whitney were going back and forth. And then Whitney said something that Lisa was responding to. But then Bronwyn also started talking at the same time as Lisa. And Lisa didn't hear her. And Bronwyn's like, oh, she's not even listening to me now. Well, I mean, she just was finishing a sentence. Like, it's, oh my God. Before this podcast got established, I'll just say, I wanted to try to start an e-commerce business, but I quit because I got super overwhelmed. One of the parts that overwhelmed me was shipping. The shipping aspect was so confusing to me and also expensive. I am so serious. If I had known about ShipStation then, I truly think I wouldn't have given up. ShipStation is the fastest, most affordable way to ship products to your customers with discounts up to 89% off UPS, DHL Express, and USPS rates. You can effortlessly scale your business. ShipStation has smart features and automations that will boost efficiency while bringing costs down. And ShipStation seamlessly integrates with services and selling channels you already use. You can manage your orders on one easy dashboard. Scale your e-commerce business with the shipping software that delivers. Switch to ShipStation today. Go to shipstation.com/shespeaks to sign up for your free 60-day trial. That's shipstation.com/shespeaks. My girls are very particular. There's no real rhyme or reason for why they like something and why they don't. But I know that they love Pretty Litter as much as I do. And here's why. Pretty Litter is lightweight, low dust, and 1 6-pound bag works for up to a month. Pretty Litter is not a clumping formula, but it traps odor and moisture like nothing I've ever seen. And bonus, Pretty Litter changes color to indicate early signs of potential illnesses in my girls, like a urinary tract infection or kidney issues and more. If that wasn't enough, Pretty Litter ships free right to my door, so I never run out. My old kitty litter was so heavy. Every time I had to lift that bag, I had to brace myself, bend at the knees. And it was so dusty. The dust got everywhere. I wanted to put a mask on every time I went in there. Pretty Litter is lightweight, low dust, and the girls love it. Pretty Litter is amazing. You have to try it. Go to prettylitter.com/shespeaks to save 20% on your first order and get a free cat toy. That's prettylitter.com/shespeaks to save 20% on your first order and get a free cat toy. prettylitter.com/shespeaks. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details. Okay, so Lisa's like, it's always an issue. It's a constant issue. Bronwyn says, no, it's the same issue. We're just never getting through it. And then she says, I'm telling you, because Lisa, I've been a good friend to you, Bronwyn. Bronwyn's like, no, I'm telling you about what's going on in my marriage, and I have not heard you say to me, I'm so sorry, or I hear you, or that's difficult. Lisa says, I did say that. I did say that when I was in there. I was like, oh my God, this is so sad. Oh my God, I'm sad. I'm not paraphrasing. That is literally what she said. She reenacted the tone that she used. I was like, oh my God, that's so sad. Like, I said that. That's so good. But then I don't like what Bronwyn says here. She goes, honestly, I appreciate you liking my husband, but the way that you responded to what I was saying today made me, and not only me, believe that maybe A, you didn't believe me, or you don't really give a fuck. Or that honestly, you kind of stood up for Todd more than you did for me. So, and it's like now you feel really ganged up on, right, Lisa? Now you really feel like you're getting attacked from all ends, because Bronwyn is also saying that we talked about this too. Like all of us talked about this about you. But then I don't like Mary chiming in. You haven't even been here, lady. You just got here. And she's defending Bronwyn. She's really hurt. Okay, so is Lisa at this point. But then I think because Mary chimed in, Angie then gets even more emboldened and starts just parroting things from other people that do not track for Angie and Lisa's relationship. She's like, well, I think Bronwyn, you had a tough exterior, but you've divulged more in this group than a lot of people have in years. And Lisa, I just met her and I know more about her marriage than I know about your entire life. I was like, there's no way you guys used to be talking on the phone 24/7. This is something that Whitney has said about Lisa. We've heard Whitney say this about Lisa, and you are just repeating it. And so Lisa is then heartbroken because she's like, we are friends. We do talk about these things. Like, for you to basically be saying that's not real is just heartbreaking. Like, if one of my friends came on a reality show and they pulled this on me, it would feel really fucked up. I thought Angie was just really trash for this statement. Let Whitney say it, because that's Whitney's reality. You don't know Lisa? You don't know anything about her? Really? Okay, that's fucked up. And if that is true, if that is Angie's truth, then this is a fucked up way to say that. I thought that was, and I felt bad. Lisa, the way she was crying, she seemed so truly hurt. And I really did not appreciate how Mary was like, why are you crying? Like, why are you crying? Like, because she's hurt. But Lisa knew, she's like, I'm not going to say that. She's like, doesn't matter. And so and I was happy. I was like, leave, go ahead. Because girl, these women don't deserve you. I know everyone who wants, I see I'm doing it now. I'm sure people hate Lisa Barlow and don't agree with me. And I know I'm going to get comments. But this is my truth. Okay? My truth. I think Angie, I want to not hate on Angie or not dislike Angie, but I just thought this was so mean. And I think Mary's being cruel. I don't really know what Lisa does that is openly, intentionally cruel to people. I think that she's perceived that way. And any insecurity you have, she can tap it, which isn't necessarily a positive trait of Lisa's by any means. But these people some of these women seem to go out of their way to be mean to her. And then they're like, why aren't you talking to me, Lisa? Why are you icing me out? Well, I mean, I don't know. I know, like, if I'm in a fight with if a friend, if I confront, no, let me word it like this. If I was in Lisa's position and a friend came to me with the way they felt, I do a much better job, I think, of reassuring people. Like if someone said in that group setting, you didn't have my back enough, and I thought I did, I know that I would still say, oh, okay, I thought I did it in my own way, but you know what? Next time, I know I will step in more. I did, but you maybe didn't hear it, but I'm sorry for that, and I'll do better. And if it becomes a habit for this friend to be expecting more and more, I'm like, okay, well, now hold on. Now you're expecting too much. But I am not opposed to that type of criticism, if you will. And Lisa is very opposed to criticism and defensive. But I have heard Lisa apologize, even in Palm Springs, that lunch where it was where Sean actually got involved and was like, you're abusive to Angie. In that conversation, Lisa actually just said, I'm sorry if I've ever hurt you. I really am. Like, no one acknowledged that. No, they even had like a whole bit. Like, has Lisa ever apologized to anybody? Bronwyn and Whitney have a whole bit in the after show. I mean, to anyone ever? I'm like, she did it in front of our faces. When have you guys been apologizing all that much? Like, I don't know. Like, Whitney denies doing anything that she does and has been playing a victim the whole time. So when is she, like, Lisa has done her part in apologizing. Lisa and Angie, though, were friends. And like I said, I think Angie, you get her in the right room with the wrong people or vice versa, she's going to come out either agreeing with them or whatever. I think Angie lacks like a little bit of self-identity maybe. And so is kind of trying to fit in everywhere, sort of, maybe. The after show had a lot in it. I saved a bunch of stuff, but it's really repetitive. Like, Whitney is really riling Bronwyn up about Lisa, and Bronwyn is really willing to get riled up. And I just think that it's such an extreme that they are going. And I just don't think Lisa is that deep. I remember for a long time, I had someone in my life that just wasn't that deep. And I was very deep. Everything going on in my life was just like, so difficult and tragic. And I was always like crying. And I was a mess. And I took it personal that this person kind of just didn't really give anything back. And then someone pointed out, she's just not that type of person. She's just not going to give you that. And it's not easy. There are times when I would love this person to give me that, but they just don't, because that's their capability and their pros outweigh this con. So, there you go. And so Lisa, I think, especially if you've been brought on the show by Lisa, like Bronwyn was literally brought on by Lisa. Lisa was her entree. And Lisa is different in this setting and isn't just like, I have Bronwyn's back no matter what, because her and Heather have this crazy alliance that is just absurd. The Heather-Lisa alliance is like, it just came it came on strong kind of out of nowhere for me. Like Heather and not Mary. Heather and Meredith have been tight, like a unit for a while, but Lisa and Heather, not really. So like this season is like, whoa, okay, when this happened. So they're like really tight. So Bronwyn is probably going to be prone to taking it personal when Lisa doesn't behave in the exact way she expects or demands or whatever. And in some cases, I really can see, like, Lisa doesn't do well with just taking information from someone and going like, okay, I hear you there. Like, she has to get defensive and she has to argue, and that's very upsetting and very difficult. So I see all that stuff. However, I just don't see her being so outwardly mean and intentionally cruel like it seems that some of these women will do to her. So anyway, okay, we're done here, I think. I might have missed something. There was a lot. Getting everything together for Salt Lake City is hard because there's just so much. So much. Anyway, I love you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful holiday if you are celebrating. And if you're not celebrating, I hope you just enjoyed chilling. And I will see you guys on Sunday. The wrap up, it's going to be a nice end of the year wrap up with Kendrick. Kendrick will be here. We'll kind of, I guess, go over 2024, which is already over. I feel like it should be August. I'm not even kidding. It's just weird that it's already over. So anyway, we'll do that on Sunday. We'll see you guys there, 10 a.m. PT on YouTube. And available for the replay everywhere. Love you. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to She's Speaking with Emily Hanks. This show is produced, hosted, and edited by me, Emily, and brought to you in partnership with Cloud 10 Media. If you are looking for bonus content, check out the Patreon. The link is in the description. To show some support, you can hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Another free way to support the pod, please rate and/or review on whatever platform you listen. It's free and it helps the algorithm or something. You could also head to buymeacoffee.com/shespeaks and buy me a coffee or two. Make sure you're following me on all social medias. I am She's Speaking with Emily Hanks across all platforms: Threads, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. That's it. Thank you guys. See you soon.